WrestleMania next year if they want to have things implode. But looking at Monday Night Raw, where you had Roman and the Usos, everybody in the ring, they give Jacob the Ulla, they walk out, Eric Andre is ringside, he starts dangling and fiddling around with the Ulla, which was hilarious, and then they throw him in the ring, Roman Reigns gets on the apron, and he's directing Jacob not to do it. What I found interesting in this moment was it's Roman Reigns trying to control Jacob. Also, maybe even a test. Does he listen? He just went through this whole Ulla ceremony thing minutes earlier. So does Jacob listen to his tribal chief in the heat of the moment? He does. He starts getting down. Roman recognizes this. Roman tells him to get up. So he hits a splash. They roll out of the ring, and then Roman says, one more time. Does it again. And Roman says basically a warning shot to everybody, don't mess with them. After that, on Raw, is when you get the backstage moment, where you have Roman whispering to Jacob Fatu what seems to be Seth Rollins, get him. Now, it could have been a little bit before that, but it does seem and sound like he's targeting Seth Rollins. Now, Seth and Roman, they've had little backstage moments where they've just kind of intersected each other. You've also got just the absolute massive history between Seth and Roman. We haven't had a one-on-one match between Roman and Seth since Royal Rumble 2022. So that direct one-on-one confrontation between those two guys, I think could be coming real soon. Or they could let it linger and stretch it out longer. That would really make sense because they would have Seth getting more involved with Bloodline again. Seth, I think, is about to wrap up this whole Vision Quest storyline once and for all. It felt like it was the end, but they decided they're going to do a steel cage match between him and Breaker at Night of Champions. I feel like this is the end. Steel cage matches are generally blow-off matches, and I think that this is the way they gotta move Seth Rollins on from this. They gotta move Braun Breaker on to something else. Because the Vision story, I feel like it's kind of done with Seth. Because they had that match on Raw, Breaker and Seth earlier, that felt like the blow-off. It almost felt like they needed to stretch it just a little bit longer so that they could start pivoting and shifting plans for SummerSlam. Get Seth Rollins lose during the King of the Ring matches, but he was out pretty early on. Now, it could have been interesting if they did end up having Seth make it over to the finals and they shifted the brackets around so you ended up with, like, Seth versus Jey Uso. But we'll talk about King of the Ring in a minute and what they could possibly be doing here. So, assuming Seth wins at Night of Champions against Breaker, then Seth should just have a clear path to SummerSlam where he might be dealing with the bloodline. Could that be Roman? Could that be Jacob? Now, speaking of Night of Champions, it's a big deal because it has so much to do with SummerSlam and the path that we go with multiple people, which is great. So we'll talk about Omofemi for a second, because he's had a lot to do with this Roman Reigns storyline. Not or will eventually. It is over with. But he does, he just goes straight to King of the Ring, wins the thing, and goes to fight Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. So does Jey win? I assume he's going to be Javon Evans, and Jey versus Oba will be in the final. Does Jey win? If so, he's going to go and fight Cody Rhodes, because that's Jey's whole thing. What's interesting with Jey fighting Cody and announcing for so long that he's coming for Cody Rhodes is that it's all pushed by Roman. Roman has been directing graphics since the beginning. He's keeping Jey away from him. He's bringing Jacob closer to him. Now, Roman's saying on paper, just go after Cody, win the thing, go after Cody, get the belt, we got all the gold. But when it comes to Omofemi, you notice how Roman has done nothing to acknowledge Omofemi in storyline at all, even as they go through the tournament. Jey doesn't even talk about Omofemi. So it feels like they're keeping Oba Roman or Oba bloodline story very far apart, even though they're about to collide. The only time they mentioned or teased anything was post-WrestleMania press conference. But they're keeping them apart, which is probably a smart thing to do. So after Night of Champions, we could end up seeing Jacob target Seth Rollins. This could happen at Night of Champions. You could have Jacob get into that steel cage. Kind of like what he did with Drew and Cody. He got into their business. We saw how that turned out. Jacob could get in there and cost Seth the match against Breaker. No aligns with the vision of the bloodline, but it's about targeting Seth Rollins. I could see them doing that because that gets Breaker a win, which I think he really needs because he lost the last match against Seth. He has very little momentum, so Seth doesn't necessarily need that because he could be going off to a bigger story with the bloodline right after this. Roman essentially has Jacob acting as his number two and as kind of his secret weapon. But this could mean a lot for SummerSlam, and a lot of different paths actually, because it could mean a very obvious one. Seth versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. And if Roman is not on TV every single week, because he's probably not, who's the proxy? It's Jacob. So you could have Jacob and Seth in a full-out feud going all the way to SummerSlam, where it's going to then be Roman versus Seth. You could also have a match at Saturday Night's Main Event in July. That's happening at Madison Square Garden, so that's a big deal. You would do Seth Rollins versus Jacob Fatu there. Winner of that, maybe if Seth wins, but he does get to go to fight Roman at SummerSlam. This is where it gets interesting because there's so many moving pieces all around the bloodline. If Oba wins King of the Ring, well then he goes and fights Roman. You could have it where Oba pulls double duty, fights Brock Night 1 and Roman Night 2. And Seth, he doesn't get to Roman, he's dealing with Jacob the whole time. And that's Seth Rollins' SummerSlam feud with Jacob Fatu. That scenario is that it keeps Seth involved heavily with the bloodline story, and then he's getting closer to Roman Reigns. But they're not disrupting that match together. It could be something they do and they revisit that Royal Rumble, or they do Survivor Series, or it is WrestleMania. So then what if Jay gets King of the Ring? Jay then goes on to fight Cody, presumably. There's still before SmackDown, maybe there's a title change and Gunther wins. But if Jay wins King of the Ring regardless if Cody has the belt or not, that combination on SmackDown is very interesting to me because it's Jay with the history with Cody, with Sammy, and Gunther all mashed together. It could be a straight Cody one-on-one match that he goes for, or it could be something like a fatal four-way. And I think that's even more intriguing. Because then obviously Cody could retain, Gunther could get the belt, Sammy could get the belt, Jay could get the belt. But if they don't want Jay to win, they can get him almost protected loss by Sammy eating the pin, for example. If Jay wins, that means Oba did it. So Oba probably would have gotten taken out by Brock Lesnar during the finals to set up the third match. Oba talks endlessly about Brock Lesnar. They're tied 1-1. He expected Brock to show up. He didn't. They're teasing all of this to take place at SummerSlam. For me, I have no doubt that this is going to happen. Will I be disappointed? But no, not really. I'm just interested by all of it. It's all fun. So depending on how Night of Champions ends, it might determine who Roman Reigns faces at SummerSlam. Because it could be Oba versus Brock Part 3. You could have Seth versus Jacob potentially. Jay versus Cody, or slash all four guys involved on SmackDown. And then for Roman, if that's the scenario for those guys, Roman has nobody. And so that's where I go back and think, it could end up being Seth Rollins. Go back to the whispering of Jacob and Roman would take out Seth Rollins. Because Seth could be the guy coming at SummerSlam. If Oba is losing because of Brock and Jake getting a title match, that leaves the opening for Seth to get a title shot against Roman. And frankly, if they did Seth versus Roman again, one-on-one at SummerSlam, you can have Seth lose. He doesn't need the belt, and I don't expect him to get the belt. And I actually don't even need Seth that belt. He just had it. But he needs to get that title back. He didn't lose it. And we have all the bloodline interference. Jacob taking out Seth, and then that ends up being the program for Seth Rollins going post-SummerSlam. And for Oba, if he loses King of the Ring and takes on Brock and finally defeats Brock for the final time, I don't think it's a bad move. I know there's so much chatter of it's going to be Oba versus Roman at SummerSlam. And if it is, I'm sure it'll be great. Crowning Oba Femi, I'm into it. Like, I'm here for the ride. But I also don't think it's a bad idea if they stretch things out for Oba Femi. We're trying to think of Triple H booking and how he likes to do it with the sledgehammers and the suck it, where he takes his time with stuff. Sometimes too long. Now, let's not get that twisted. Sometimes it takes way too long for things to deliver. Oba's hot right now. Do you pull the trigger at SummerSlam? Maybe. But if you don't, I don't put it past them. And it helps keep things interesting. If you want to push Oba's big crowning moment, it could be for WrestleMania 43. And to get there, you then got post-SummerSlam, where you just keep building Oba. Maybe he starts getting involved in the bloodline and feuding with Jacob, or he's just doing Oba challenges, you never know. But I think you could get things to the point where you're at the Royal Rumble, and Oba could win the Royal Rumble, and then there's a clear shot to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. But there were news reports not long ago that the potential plan for 43 is like Cody versus Punk, and then you got Oba versus Roman. But the other alternative option in there that we talked about was Rock versus Roman. They still have that just lingering out there. It's Saudi Arabia, it's Saudi Mania, and they might want to try and get The Rock versus Roman Reigns to finally happen. And so you would potentially then crown Oba Femi earlier, like Royal Rumble or Survivor Series, so that Rock and Roman can happen non-title.
Deontay George is not expected to get agreement on his rookie contract extension. They said if you did it last year, prove it again this year how good you are.
Damn.
So yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, we need to see more. Especially like that.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm shitty. He was dynamite last year.
What more can I do, bro?
Let me go to the Bulls.
Yeah, already, bro.
Yeah, I'm cool.
He was one of them last year. We had him fringe also.
That is crazy, bro.
Deontay George was getting to it, and he was decent the year before. Like, he's only gotten better every year.
Yeah, I ain't see that coming.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a money player or what they own, but that's weird.
But they did the same thing with Walker Kessler.
And to my next point, if you go to the other one, Walker Kessler actually came out and said, hey, man, what we doing? Because Indiana gave us the same offer basically that they gave it to the Clippers, and we wanted to get that deal done, and y'all was nothing.
Yeah.
Because we did reach out to them to get that trade done. They went too high on Benedict Mather just because of logjam at the wing position, basically. And they were obviously trying to pay him. But they were just like, y'all, the same stuff happened. Like, what y'all doing? Y'all don't want to pay us, but y'all don't want us to go. So that is a tough situation whenever we start getting personal information out here.
Yeah, ain't gonna like to pay niggas now. Y'all see? Y'all know how that shit went with IT. Y'all like, man,
Niggas is there.
Yeah, Danny Ainge has been consistent about that. He is cheap as a chicken. Across the board, for sure. Speaking of cheap, James Douglas says he is not going to Six Akron. Enjoy your championship.
Yeah, he already won.
Please enjoy your championship.
He won. So who's moving now?
The conversation gonna have to be had.
So Cat gone, Michael Bridges or OG, they out of there.
I think Michael slide.
Cat and Michael gone then.
Damn.
No second April. Enjoy his championship because Jalen Brunson ain't taking no more pay cuts.
Jalen Brunson will be getting as much money as they can get.
This ain't selling the motherfucker, boy.
Yeah, he's no run back. Did y'all forget who I was? Like,
OG might be gone.
Nah, OG solidified.
So I'm here to make money.
He might be gone, bro.
What you gonna do with Cat? You go, that's kind of crazy, bro. So obviously Mr. Robinson's gone. Oh, he's gone. He's long gone.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Actually should be, though.
Yeah, go get paid.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You got shit. Josh Hart, I mean, he ain't breaking the bank, but you got some decisions have to be made.
All of these niggas is gone. Jalen Brunson want that next deal.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys are out of there.
Rebuild.
Now to the power first shit. I got y'all to the shit. I got y'all to the shit.
Back in the square lineup.
Yeah. Landry Shamet, you are now starting two guards.
Yeah.
Damn.
They got Landry Shamet, Jalen Brunson, OG, and
You never got to bring Cat back,
what's
bro.
their third big name? Yeah, he starting to do it.
Oh, that's wicked, bro. That's wicked, bro. Cat, they got to keep Cat, bro.
They can't, bro.
Bro. If I'm telling person like, hey, I'm not taking no fake up, but I swear to God, they're going to give me a big.
They're going to have Cat, OG, and Jalen, and then minimal players.
That's me Walker Kessler.
No, they can't. Walker Kessler, they said, hey,
25.
No. They offered him around 28. He said,
Up to the stuff.
yeah, I'm ready to get up.
Oh, that's what he said. I thought he didn't want to be with. Yeah.
Like that 5-year 140 was it. He said, I got it.
I'm sorry. I had a number short.
They want to forget it.
Oh.
Hey, this is like, this is
I put that all wrong.
Yeah, he
I slapping a face there off me.
I took that way.
because other things was something like the Patriots would have gave Walker Kessler decision in a heartbeat. Then I think conversation where they said when Luke was basically saying, I need more need high pressure defensive players. Walker Kessler would be a good fit for them, but I don't know how that works. I am intrigued to see what the Lakers gonna do though, because
Tom Brown's back. And they talking about
I think he's going back. He said Kevin Love might pull up for the vibes.
They all in London.
back to LA.
They all in London right now together.
Yeah.
Man, you bring that whole crew.
Yeah, I'm tripping.
Tristan, I'm on.
J.R. Smith, shout out to J.R. Smith.
They all up there.
They got the championship team back together.
Yeah, they all cooked up. Chandler ain't doing nothing, bro.
We good.
I'll change that.
31. We were in 31. I hope y'all Kyle some shit. We were in 31. Milwaukee Bucks. That'll be our 10-year reunion. You think they gonna come?
I mean, Brian, but they in London. Where y'all going?
Bruce. We got with Giannis out there. Well, them motherfuckers gonna be mad at me, bro. I'm like, you start all that. I'm coming to the ring and
Well, Brian only got a few of them out there. Or like the whole time.
I mean, he probably just bought everybody got their flight.
I ain't blind to Scotland.
I ain't gonna lie. They are the comments. Don't Kyrie at kids like, hey man, we invite everybody. Kyrie goes to this. I don't know how true that is. But Kyrie trying to get back, man. He ain't got time to be celebrating. He's still active, man.
Funny as hell.
Yeah. What they gonna do after Reeves? They gonna pay him that money or is he gone? I feel like he's gone.
I think he'll get paid. What he want? Little money? 40 a year. For 5? Dang. 40 year old.
The Nets are definitely gonna offer him.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm really honest with break some bank for sure. Also see some rumors of Anthony Davis wanting to go back, but I guess there's some smoke with the Lakers office that would prevent that from happening.
You don't like him?
I think they said the Rock legal situation. They ain't really too fond of that.
When you trade with Lucas for you? You take money, but yeah, that was a great trade.
You already got the ring, bro.
And they trade 1,000 pounds. Oh God, it was not even close.
That wouldn't fuck happen.
That nigga Lucas is 16, bro. Nigga, that is not honest.
Yeah, the AI shit is crazy. Yeah, Chelsea made a run though. Blue had just dropped past the end for sure, but yeah, that's crazy.
In the video game?
Yep.
Man. Do they know that's like out?
Yes.
Is that clear about the NBA?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that nigga Giannis was like Nardo. It's like Nardo wins, bro. Like, what the hell does this game play? Like,
It's like an NBA just like game. You just dropped again.
okay.
Today's show is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. Florida Sportsbook. The biggest soccer tournament in the world is here. It's going down, man, with national pride on the line. Superstars are chasing immortality for the next month. Every match feels like a championship.
Whether you betting or backing your favorite country or betting on your favorite superstars, tap in with Hard Rock Bet. We got everything you need. A way to get into the action. If you're ever late to the kickoff, don't worry. Hard Rock Bet lets you live bet during the game. Hard Rock Bet has new promos daily. Bonus bets. Check out my crash out bets. Also add the profit boost to your bet.
Man, listen, sign up today on Hard Rock Bet and place a $5 bet. And if it wins, you get $150 in bonus bets. Plus an extra $150 to bet with now, and that's how you get the summer cracking.
Hard Rock Bet is Florida's only legal sportsbook.
But you ain't got to be in Florida just to join the party, man. If you are in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, Colorado, and Michigan, you can join in too.
Download the Hard Rock Bet today. Roll with us, go with us.
The Nets, they're trying to get active out here apparently. They're looking possibly trade some things that they want. Aaron Wiggins, okay, see? Okay, so yeah, we need to look this one up. Okay, see, we're trying to get up in the lottery apparently. They're trying to make it happen. So, yeah, for the number 6 pick, they give up Wiggins, the 12th pick, and the 17th pick. They only got one roster spot available for them. And they see that OKC is trying to get a young talent in this draft.
Oh, yeah.
That is not what he needs at all, but Terry Pritchard will have his way. It'd be very interesting.
That's dang near a cool trade, bro.
That's a good pick. I mean, for the Nets,
The 12 man 17. And Wiggins, the solid play. Yeah.
How much of a contract do you think LeBron is worth? This is a very different question than what it actually is involved in his situation. I'll wait to get to that until our second mailbag question, which is also a LeBron contract-related question, which is very simply in a vacuum. Let's talk about what LeBron brings to the table. This season in a tertiary role, so in a role where he was not given as much usage as the majority of players of his ilk get. In a tertiary role, he averaged 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 21.6 rebounds and 7 assists per game, about 1.8 stocks, and he shot just under 60% true shooting. Played in 60 games, so despite missing training camp at the start of the season, he was very available from that point forward. He played in every playoff game and was the best player in a playoff series. And that's really the key. He was able to raise his level in the postseason, as he always has in his career, and reach a level of two-way impact that was actually among the top, 10, 15 guys that we saw in the entire playoff field this year. So when you really dig into it, 21, 6, and 7, less than 60, just under 60% true shooting in a tertiary role, while also elevating to a extremely high level in the postseason. That of one of the top, 10, call it 15, just to be conservative. One of the top 15 players that we watched in this postseason field. That's worth a lot of money. You're going to get north of 40, maybe even $50 million a year for that caliber of play. That's not necessarily relevant to his situation, but it's just the reality of what LeBron would be worth in a vacuum. To put it simply, if every team in the league had just blank cap sheets and you were just going about filling players, filling your roster by just picking players and offering them what you think they were worth, LeBron would get the max. That's just not how it works, though. We don't have a bunch of teams with cap space. The teams that he's considering playing for next year certainly don't have the cap space to pay him as much as he deserves, and that's just the reality of this predicament. But when we're talking about value, let's be very clear. There just aren't that many basketball players that are providing as much impact on both ends of the floor as LeBron is, even as he heads into his age 42 season. Which takes us to our second question. If no team can pay LeBron more than $15 million, why would the Lakers bid against themselves to pay him $25 million or more? Seems really stupid. I agree, for the record. There's no reason for the Lakers to go to LeBron and offer him some enormous sum of money. He's not going to get offered anything close to that out there on the open market. The problem more has to do with the perception of the way the offer is received. So, for instance, if you come in at